What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed, girl, unless your taste level is just lacking. And if that's the case, then, we don't judge here. A lot of y'all don't follow me over on Instagram, so y'all probably have been wondering where I've been. And if you follow me on Instagram, then, we happy that I'm here today because mama got COVID, okay? I caught COVID. She finally caught up to me. After all of these years, I really thought I was gonna die. I called my mama and I was like, girl, I think this is it. I think I'm gonna beat you to the finish line, girl. And if that's the case, I love y'all, okay? But check on me every couple of hours because this might be it for me, okay? But luckily, I'm still here, in the land of the living. And I'm feeling good. I still am like expelling some mucus, but I've tested clean. I'm negative, okay? I don't know what's going on. I need that to just go ahead and go about business and go about way. Now, if you don't want to hear me ramble, then I'll put in the pinned comment where the story starts. But I'm going to catch up with my girls for now. Y'all, I think I got it from the doctor's office. Is that not supposed to be a safe space for your health? Like, I went to get a whole physical and some blood work done. And, here in Texas, I don't know how it is where y'all live, but it's like half and half. You go somewhere and like 40% of the people have masks on. And that's how it was at the doctor's office, including the staff. Like, only a couple of people had masks on. Damn near everybody, except for the doctor who I saw last, had someone that was with them in training. Like, I had an EKG done. I had my blood drawn. And the person who was actually doing it was, like, in training. So I was seeing double the people that you typically see. And one of them gave me COVID. And I just know it because I was perfectly fine before then. That was on a Tuesday. I wake up on a Thursday and I smell something. And my thing is, I cannot have a stench in my home. That is my number one pet peeve. So I'm walking around like, what is that smell? I've never heard of the phantom odor being a symptom. I thought you lose your smell and you lose your sense of taste. I never heard of you smelling a scent that wasn't really there. So initially, I'm like at home and I'm like, what is that smell? Y'all, I spent Thursday and Friday, when I say the entire day, both days, cleaning my home. At first I thought it was like the trash or like the garbage disposal, and then I mopped the floor, and then I was like, well, maybe it's like the carpet. I don't know why I thought it was the carpet. I was like, maybe it's the carpet. I bought a carpet shampooed the little piece of carpet in my bedroom and closet, and each time I would clean something, like it'll go away for a second and then it'll just come back like an hour later, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Girl, between the sheets in my home, why does it smell like this? When I tell you I cleaned everything that you can think of to clean, I did every last little piece of laundry. I wiped the baseboards down with cleaner. All of the handles and hardware cabinets with Clorox wipes, wiped down the inside of the cabinet because the smell kept coming back. Like, it would go away and I would think I got it, and then I'll be relaxing and then there she goes. And I'm like, back to square one trying to figure out what it is. I did this for 2 days straight. I even had maintenance come by and change the air filters because I was convinced that maybe there was some moisture up there. Maybe it got a little mildew mold and it was blowing out into my apartment when I turned the AC on. Like, I literally tried everything. It was a mess. I was a mess. And so I go pick up my niece, Violet, on Friday evening. And Violet was perfectly fine. She spends the weekends with me typically. And so Saturday morning, I'm up cleaning again because, again, I smell this odor. I pulled out the refrigerator and the stove thinking maybe some food particles had fallen behind them. And I noticed Violet was not getting out of bed. Typically, she gets up and demands breakfast, okay, homemade. But she was just in bed. And Bella was in the bed with her, not even trying to wake her up, just like hovering. I wake her up and she is just like, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, like my body hurts. And I'm like, that's weird. And she a kid, she only 9, so I'm thinking she just got the cooties. And about 1 o'clock, when she still had not gotten out of bed, I called my sister. I'm like, girl, kids ain't really my ministry. Like, I got some Pepto-Bismol I give Bella and Blue when their little bellies are hurting. I can go to Target and try to get her some stuff at the kids section. If you tell me what to get, girl, besides orange juice, I really don't know what to do here. And she was like, look, before you break my kid, I'm going to come over there and nurse it back to health. So she comes in, and I'm in the kitchen, and I'm like, do you smell that? And she's like, what? And I'm like, you don't smell that like mildew, like sewage smell? And she's like, girl, all I smell is cleaning products in this candle. And I'm like, no, I smell sewage. Walk around a little bit. She walks through and she's like, I don't smell anything. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm having a sinus infection. Like, maybe that's what's going on here, because typically when I get a sinus infection, that's how it starts. Like I smell this funky little smell that only I can smell right. Violet spends the whole Saturday in my bed, and my sister is like, you know, seeing after her child. And then Sunday she wakes up and she's like perfectly fine, back to running around. And I'm like, girl, are you sure you're okay? And she's like, yeah, I feel fine. We go out running errands. When I tell you we went to like 5 different stores, girl, then we went to the pool and we swam around in the pool. And she was like, take me to the other side. I put her on my back, girl, and just swam her to the other side. Back and forth, back and forth. We were all over the place. The pool is just packed with residents, right? And I'm sure you probably can tell where I'm going with that. So we have a good old time. And then I return her to her rightful owner, and I film a video, which was my last upload. I filmed that on a Tuesday. About 10 minutes before that video ends, I had gotten up to get something. I don't remember what it was, but I remember feeling like dizzy. And I'm like, why am I dizzy? But if you remember, I did have a little piece of cocktail in the video. This does not feel like that. Like, I don't feel drunk or intoxicated at all. I feel dizzy. So I just go get what I got up for, and then I come back, finish out the end of the video. As soon as I hit stop on my camera, I felt so sick. I have never felt that bad in my life, and it came out of nowhere. I stood up, I knocked down these makeup brushes, child, they fell to the floor, stayed there for 3 days because I just didn't even have it in me to pick up the makeup brushes, okay? I felt so sick, and it was so sudden. And then I'm like, well, damn, I already got my results back from my physical and my blood work. Like, what could be wrong with me? They must have missed the spot. And I was pissed about that because I'm like, damn, girl, y'all didn't catch this. The odds of me getting a full-blown checkup, girl, to make sure I'm not about to be deceased. And then literally the next week, I just out of here. Like, girl, what? That makes no sense. So anyway, I make it to my room. Like, I could barely make it to my room. And my room is literally nowhere from where I'm sitting right here. I lay across the bed. I call my mom. I'm like, look, I don't know what's wrong with me, but something is very, very wrong. Like, I'm really, really sick. And she's like, what's going on? I'm telling her how I'm feeling. Everything hurt. Like, every symptom you could think of, from being sick, girl, from the flu to the cold, like all of the things. I had everything. So yeah, it's a new day because, you know, when I was telling y'all about my little COVID experience, I got a call from my girl. We had to go celebrate her getting a new job. Now, we haven't gotten the word yet that she got it, but she got it. I'm going to speak it into existence. Because if they got at least the sense God gave a gopher, and I'm really not just saying that because that's my friend. It's a fact. But where was I? Like, I barely could sit up in my bed long enough to edit like that little clip for the Care Of ad to get that to them for approval. In order to be able to do so, I had to take some ibuprofen. I took like 2 liquid gels. Once those kicked in, I was able to at least sit up in my bed and like edit that. It was a nightmare. It was horrible, and I had to travel home to go to a baby shower, and so that was beautiful for the 1,036th time. Congratulations, Maya. You're going to be a great mommy. And I'm so excited about our new bundle of joy. I'm really excited. Like, I need to buy my plane ticket now because I plan on going back home to see the baby. Anyway, so all of that happened, child, and I barely made it out, but I'm here, you know. And then I was also dealing with Bella. I got her fixed in that time. So these past 2 weeks that y'all have not seen me, chill. It's been a lot going on. She had to have her little surgery done. She's okay. We actually just left this morning from going to get stitches taken out. So she's doing really good. So yeah, it was a whole lot going on. And again, thank you to everybody who reached out. All of the people on Instagram that were constantly checking on me. My friends, my tribe in Houston. Like, I have amazing friends here in Houston, and they all were checking on me and bringing food to my door. I said it was like I was living like the people on my 600-pound life, girl. They would leave the food at my door, girl, let me know it's there, because we're not trying to get them sick. The whole time I was down, and during my, you know, like my quarantining period when I started to feel better, but I was still testing positive and could not leave the house, they held me down. They made sure I had everything I needed, and I love them. Thank you all. Anywho, without further ado, let's get into today's video. This video has been on my board for so long, and I'm excited to finally be filming it. Today's story, as you can tell by the title, is about Papa Legba, and it's under the Urban Legend series, but I do recognize and respect the fact that he is or does belong to a lot of people's spiritual practices and beliefs, and I'm by no way undermining that. In fact, a couple of the entities that I'm going to cover in the future also kind of fall under that umbrella, and nobody say anything about it so far, but I just want to make that clear that, you know, we're respectful over here of everybody. I'm not trying to minimize. I just want to make that clear. Also, before I get started, shout out to Fresh Kings 08 for suggesting him way back in like February of this year. The thing is, I started the research, but I felt like I had to get this completely right before I deliver it. It's taken a while for me to get to the point where I felt comfortable enough to go ahead and sit up here and tell y'all about it. Now, for those of you who do not know, Papa Legba is one of the most popular deities in voodoo. And he's actually probably the most interesting one to me. And so when I saw this comment, I was extremely excited to go ahead and make a video about it. I was also really excited to see him as a character being portrayed in American Horror Story Coven until I saw how inaccurately they portrayed him. But that's Hollywood and TV for you, right? Papa Legba is most commonly depicted as a tall black man wearing white face paint, a hat, dressed in like this worn, tattered suit, smoking a pipe, oftentimes accompanied by a dog like this. I'll insert a picture of what he typically is portrayed as in the media. Now, in American Horror Story, he was depicted as a devilish, creepy, and demonic spirit or entity that demanded the souls of babies in return for a favor that only a supreme being could fulfill. And I hate to break it to you, but that is not really who he is. However, it is kind of how he works, minus the requirement to, pay with the baby soul. So let's dive into what Papa Legba really is about. And you may be a little disappointed to find that the truth about him is not as dark and twisted as pop culture has made him out to be over the years. It's still a very interesting story though. Papa Legba originated in West Africa, and his story expanded with the capturing of Africans to be used as slaves in other parts of the world. And he plays a huge and very significant part of the original practices and spiritual beliefs of those of African descent. Among those original beliefs is the belief that yes, there is a God, one true supreme being that's, overall. However, he is busy, okay? He is a very busy being, and he does not really have time to be on the prayer line, girl, answering your calls about having a man or revealing to you if your partner is cheating. He does not really involve himself in the everyday human affairs directly. Instead, he has these subservient spirits who are like a team with their own set of tasks and duties and powers. They're not as powerful as him. There are some parental controls, if you will, on their abilities, and they are called Loas. And among these powerful beings, of course, is Papa Legba. He is the gatekeeper and liaison between both worlds, the land of the living and the spiritual world. Now, he is one of the most powerful within the belief system that he belongs to. Only through him can people communicate with the spirit world. And he also has the gift of being able to speak any language, even the one down to the Sentinelese Island. Now, over time, he has come to be known by many different names, depending on your geographical location. In Cuba, he is referred to as Ilegua, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And in Brazil, they call him Ishu. And the reason that there are all these different names for essentially the same being is because one of the methods of suppression practiced by the European slave owners was actually separating people of the same tribe who spoke the same language and mixing groups of people who spoke different languages, of course, to create a language barrier, a communication barrier, and prevent plotting and planning against them. Kanye. And there's also the fact that enslaved people wanted to keep a lot of their spiritual practices hidden for their own safety. So they began to refer to a lot of these entities as different names or call them something else to disguise, what they were truly talking about. Now, naturally, there are some differences in how he is depicted depending on where you are and, the culture that is discussing him. But for the most part, there's a general understanding of who Papa Legba is and how he works. And we're going to get into that right now. Now, Papa Legba has extensive wisdom, like infinite wisdom. He can also help you out with anything that you want in life, whether you need clarity on a situation, talent, or pretty much just about anything, any favor that you can ask for. Or if you want to contact any of his spiritual brethren, you would also have to go through him. But Papa Legba does not work for free. He must first be summoned and honored during a ceremony. And when he shows up, if you do not have an offering, honey, he does not have the time. And he accepts offerings of all kinds. So, like I said, how he was portrayed on American Horror Story where they had to give him a baby soul child, no. He accepts offerings of all kinds. Cane syrup, coffee, candy, produce. He'll take a little rum if you got it. Okay. The list goes on, but sacrifices of life are not something that is required or requested. It actually does not take much to appease him at all. And he is not some demonic, evil, dark spirit. However, he, like all other Loas, do require respect. They don't play by the respect part. And he must also be thanked properly for satisfying your request. You may be familiar with one of the most popular exchanges with Papa Legba among Southerners. It is the story of blues singer Robert Johnson, who, according to him, met a spirit at a crossroad and offered his soul in exchange for musical success. And of course, just as African spirituality has been twisted and demonized via racist ideology over the centuries, so has this story. And most currently, now it's being told as if he went and sold his soul to the devil for musical success. If you listen to the song Crossroads where he talks about it, he never once says he met the devil. That was never the claim, child. That's just the story that they tell now. Now they say little Robert Johnson's guitar skills were not worth two dead fly smash girl with the wings torn off before he had met this spirit at the crossroad, which is actually a real crossroad in Mississippi, I believe. And then he went there and he left with this musical talent that he did not have before that ultimately garnered his success. Unfortunately, he dies just 3 years later after being poisoned at a juke joint. And see, the thing is, and the question I have is, why did you jump so high with the offer, sir? Your soul? You ain't have a little mango or a shot of whiskey you could have given, Papa Legba? Why the soul? And if it's true that, you met him and offered your soul to him, he came and collected early, you should have been more specific that you wanted to give up the soul when you was done with it. Because he didn't circle the block and came back to collect just 3 years later. Child, I wouldn't even give him blue or bella, let alone my precious little soul. Especially since it's not required, girl. But to each his own. I'm not here to judge. Now, another very popular alleged interaction with Papa Legba is the very recent and unfortunate passing of 19-year-old Kaitlin Reston of Virginia. Now, Kaitlin had reportedly begun practicing Haitian voodoo spells and had joined several groups on social media that shared spells and talked about the things that they were doing and different rituals and practices. And just a few days before her death, she had actually posed a question within one of the groups asking if she should hex her ex-girlfriend after their breakup. And then on March 29th of 2020, she posted to her Twitter account herself casting a spell and setting a poppet on fire. Now, a poppet is a doll used in many spiritualities to represent a person that you are typically trying to cast a spell upon. And it's most commonly referred to as a voodoo doll. Now, I'm pretty sure we've all heard of or seen people putting pins in those little dolls and, ripping their little hair out with the hopes of the person it represents feeling the effects wherever they are in the world. Now, the poppet that she had in these Twitter posts, it had pins in it, child, needles stuck all in it, and the people on Twitter went nuts. So many people responded to this and told her that she really should just leave it alone. Many of them respond warning her of the dangers of playing with magic spells and African spirituality. And a lot of them honestly were upset at the fact that she is clearly and obviously a Caucasian woman and her ex-girlfriend is an African American woman. So a lot of them responded telling her it was completely asinine for her to be sitting here and trying to use African spirituality and magic against this African American woman as a white woman. It was like, girl, what are you doing here? This looks crazy. Be careful. However, she responds to them saying that, she has the right to practice whatever she wants to practice, okay? That these were her chosen spiritual practices that should be respected like anyone else's when it comes to their religion. So, you know, respect her and her choices. She felt like no one had the right to tell her that because she's white, she cannot. And she was a self-proclaimed Wiccan. And while witches do practice like spells and witchcraft, it is not the same as voodoo. It's a lot of similarities, but they are not synonymous. This is another thing that made a lot of people think or feel like she really had no clue what she was really getting herself into or playing with, because she claimed to be Wiccan, but she was practicing Haitian voodoo as well. So for this, she also receives a lot of backlash. Yet again, people are really bothered by her posts, some accusing her of making a mockery of people's sacred practices, while others warn her yet again that she is certainly playing with fire. Child, her being Wiccan and trying to summon Papa Legba, to me sounds like being a Christian girl and trying to get Buddha on the main line for a favor. Because this was not that long ago, you can actually Google her name and find all of like the Twitter threads. Nobody ever deleted her account, so everything is still there. And it is some of the last posts that were made to her account. 3 weeks after she posted herself and the puppet on her Twitter account, she decides to summon Papa Legba. On April 17th of 2020, she performs a ceremony and summons him to her home. Now, what she wanted from him is unclear. But afterwards, she posted to her Facebook page, "I seen Papa Legba today, and I'm scared." A lot of people believe that it was still centered around the girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend, because she was very obsessive over this girl. She was very upset with her. And during this time, a lot of her posts were centered around the girlfriend. So it is widely speculated and assumed that whatever she was calling on him for that day had something to do with her getting back at this ex-girlfriend, since all of her other spells, magic, rituals have been centered around that. Now, just 2 days after she made the post saying that she had seen him and she was afraid, she passes away unexpectedly in her mother's home, according to her obituary. Which, this is actually very sad, because at the time she had a 5-month-old daughter. I couldn't find any solid evidence of her official cause of death, and to my knowledge her family has not made that public information. But it is most commonly reported that she was found inside the bathroom of her mother's home, face down in a tub of water. Now, of course, the internet can be a very unforgiving place. So when this news circulated, people wasted no time expressing their feelings and thoughts and opinions on Caitlin's death. Many people felt like Caitlin's bad intentions for her ex actually just backfired on her. And other people believed that this was just a prime example of what she was warned about, that these practices can be very, very dangerous. And you can really get hurt if you are unknowledgeable about what it is you're doing and these entities that you are seeking. Y'all know Twitter is ruthless, child. They showed absolutely no mercy whatsoever. It was also widely speculated amongst the voodoo practicing community. It was widely speculated that it was not Papa Legba that she had seen at all, and that it was actually an entity by the name of Baron Samedi, who is the Loa of the dead. Just like Papa Legba, Baron is oftentimes, well, all the time, portrayed as a dark, demonic entity, mainly due to society's fear and misunderstanding of voodoo. He is also physically portrayed almost identically to the media's portrayal of Papa Legba. I'll insert a picture, but if you Google either of their names, a lot of the same images pop up, honestly. It's a black, tall, thin guy with white face paint. Baron oftentimes has the face of a skeleton, like painted on his face. They are kind of similar because, you know, you have to summon them both and you can ask them for a favor, and they have the option to deliver what you want. So if it's true that she did not have a real understanding of, you know, what she was dealing with, it's very possible and likely that one could have shown up and she got them confused. Baron Samedi is called upon for healing by those near death. That's his ministry. He has the power, no matter how sick you are, even if it is due to like a hex or black magic, you know, performed by one of his brethren. He has the power to reverse it and decide that it is not your time yet, despite what's going on, child, despite the injury or illness. He is said to be able to cure mortals from anything, as long as he thinks it's worthwhile. If you call him and he shows up, he don't feel like it's worthwhile, girl, he just goes ahead and ushers you right on out of the land of the living. Whereas that is not really Papa Legba's ministry, child. He's trying to help you while you still here. And of course, this could be a very scary encounter with anyone, child. I know I'd definitely be a little bit intimidated and afraid if I knew that I can call on him and he can just have me go right along with him if he saw fit. And so a lot of people in the community felt like for that reason as well, it was more likely that she saw Baron Samedi instead of Papa Legba, because she described it as a very scary experience. She probably dialed the wrong number. Baron Samedi picked up, girl, saw what was going on, and decided to just go ahead and interfere and get her out of here. I don't know. I do, however, want to know what you guys think about all of this. Like, let me know. I think this case is one of the ones where I felt the most pressure to like double, triple, quadruple, whatever the 5 is, fact check. Because anytime I'm dealing with like spirituality or anybody's spiritual beliefs or religion, like I really feel pressured to get it right. Because y'all, when you're relying on the internet to get all your little facts, sometimes, you know, these different sources have different information and none of them will be exactly the same. And so you really have to just try your best to figure out which source is the most credible, girl, and just hope and pray you got it right. A lot of pressure comes with that. And yes, I'm still a blush girl. Yes, ma'am. Miss Blush, I've been loving it here. I have been trying to film some TikToks. I'm about to try to film a TikTok when I finish this. I be feeling like Auntie a little old for the TikTok, okay? Auntie don't really know much about the TikTok. I tried to get Violet to teach me how to make one, and girl, she was so over me after like 2 tries, 2 attempts. Like, why are kids so impatient? Oh, let me also acknowledge the fact that we definitely hit 200K. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. I actually was very busy in Memphis for a baby shower for my nephew, and I didn't even realize until somebody wrote me on Instagram, was like, girl, congratulations, we got there. And I'm like, oh my god, we really did. We did it. I love y'all so much. Oh yeah, I don't know how I forgot this part. Let me circle back to the COVID thing. So you know, I mentioned that Violet spent a day in bed, like not feeling good and sick. So when I tested positive for COVID, I texted everybody I had been in contact with recently. When I say that felt very much like being at the clinic, girl, and finding out you got a little afternoon and them instructing you to follow up and contact all of your partners to let them know so they can also get tested. That very much felt like that. Me going through my phone being like, hey, I tested positive. You should get checked out too. I don't know why, but it was very embarrassing for me. Honestly, it really was. Like, I was very embarrassed. I don't know why, girl. I don't know why, but it was. Anyway, among those people was, of course, Violet, because I guess with her little system being a lot smaller than mine, it just took her down quickly. She tested positive, but she was only sick that one day she spent in my house. Other than that, she was perfectly fine, but because we were so close to the end of the school year, they took her out of school for the rest of the year. Violet loves school, so that was a huge problem for her. She was devastated. She cried, girl, a river. Then her little birthday is coming up on the 30th, so she was very concerned about that, thinking she wouldn't get to celebrate that. It was just a whole mess. Child, I used to pick Violet up every Friday after school, and she would spend the weekend with me. You think I heard from her since, girl? Violet did not call me. She has not been back here. I guess Violet said, girl, I'm not going over there no more. They got the cooties. I'm not with it. Like, I didn't have to miss the rest of the school year for this lady. I'm not going back. Violet has not been to my house since. Then that Monday, which was like 10 hours before, girl, she just put me on bed rest. I'd had dinner with 2 of my friends. I heard about this Mexican restaurant. We all live in the same area. So I just texted them, was like, hey, if you girls haven't had dinner, let's meet up here and have dinner tonight. And they were down for it. One thing about me, I'm gonna offer you some food, girl. I like to feed people. So I'm just offering up my churros, like, girl, take one, girl, take one, girl. Let me taste, oh, let me get a little bit of that dip, girl. She told them to get tested, and one of the 2 tested positive, and she was really sick. And I just felt so bad. I was like, look at me. I'm like the outbreak monkey out here. Like, it's just so embarrassing. I'm so nasty. But thankfully, my sister and our other friend that was at dinner with us, neither of them tested positive, and they were perfectly fine and in good health. Alright, that pretty much concludes this video, this story, today's look, all of the things, girl. Leave your thoughts on this case down below in the comment section. Like the video, share the video, subscribe if you have not. As always, per usual, I appreciate you spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Also, me and Violet just swimming through. Okay, no. All that was fun. Well, not all of it. COVID wasn't fun. What am I talking about? I feel like I had one more something to tell y'all about. And without further ado, I feel like I had something else to say and I cannot remember. Must not have been important. Hello? Did Bella just do a fucking cartwheel in the bag? That's what it sounded like. I guess you sunbathing right there in the corner is not really bothering me. I guess I'll allow it. In return for a favor that only a supreme, and they're called Lowe's. Lowe's. Is it Lowe's or Lowe's? Like the home goods stuff. Now they say that little Robert Johnson's good. Annette is in here. Perfect. Now Kaitlin had reportedly begun. She posts herself like casting. Girl, what? Whoever got my little Poppy doll, whoever has mine, rub the booty a little bit. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But if you got it and you wanna, put a little money in its pocket, girl, by all means, please do so. I wouldn't mind the butt rub either, honestly. And the general consistent, this Estee Lauder double wear currently has me in a complete chokehold. Like, girl, I love it. Why didn't y'all, see, I be thinking we're friends, but y'all don't be putting me on to the good stuff. Why didn't y'all tell me about it? Y'all know I'd be out. Girl, not Paw Patrol. Alright. Jesus.